Thank you for inviting me for the Christmas episode. Really excited. I think this year has been eventful. We had a lot of things going on, and tobacco harm reduction community is remaining to be strong. We're happy about that, and we had significant moments, several significant moments, which I would like to emphasize. And first of all, I would like to talk about the campaign that the World Vapers Alliance has been running across the EU. We were running a campaign to gather signatures to Every Life Counts petition. Our goal with this petition is to ensure that the consumers' voices will be heard, and to make sure that policymakers will know what less risky nicotine alternatives mean to consumers and how they help them quit smoking. And we have been putting a lot of efforts in this campaign, and overall we have gathered 100,000 signatures, actually a bit more than 100,000 signatures. So we were very excited to deliver those signatures to the European Parliament in Brussels some time ago alongside our partners. And we really hope that policymakers will pay attention that these are real consumer voices who are standing against the counterproductive policies that potentially might even be coming in the future. So that's a big milestone for us, definitely, and it deserved a mention. I also recently, like worldwide, when we look at different countries which are making progress, it's really hard not to mention Sweden. I recently recorded a podcast episode about the progress that Sweden has reached this year. They published a report, and now we see that they hit the new record of decreased smoking rates. It's 5.3%, which makes them closer and closer to the smoke-free goal. And that's a huge testament to the power of allowing consumers to choose less risky alternatives for them. Because if you look at the numbers, the consumers in Sweden are still using nicotine, and the nicotine, they are using nicotine, and the rates are the same as in the rest of the EU, but they have decreased the risks around using the nicotine, right? So they're using it in more reasonable way and less risky way, which also helps the public health and improves public health. We can see that smoking-related illnesses are also decreasing in Sweden, and cancer rates are also decreasing in Sweden, which is great news, and we're happy about that, and should not only be celebrated, but also the leaders of the rest of the world should take a look at Sweden and definitely take an example from Sweden of how they are actually decreasing the deadly combustion in their country. And just to end up this question on a positive note, I think we had a really fruitful events on the community side as well. We, WVA, had an opportunity to visit the event run by Taxpayers Protection Alliance in February, which was a response to COP10. At COP10, sadly, our voices could not be heard. We were not allowed to be there, but it's really strong and optimistic that we were still advocating for consumer voice, and we were all together, and we were responding to all the misinformation and vacuum basically around harm reduction that WHO created at the time of COP10. And I also cannot go by without mentioning Global Forum on Nicotine, which is an annual event. And I always hear a lot of progress scientifically as well during being at GFN, and it's very productive. And we also ran a training alongside with our partners as well. And I think it's really great to see the community strengthening the bond and discussing and debating and sharing the insights. So while the legislation remains turbulent, it's not all good. We know many more countries are very hostile towards tobacco harm reduction rather than friendly. we still remain optimistic that these things will change towards more progress and endorsing harm reduction. Well, I think it's very clear. I partially also mentioned that in my previous response, but I hope that tobacco harm reduction will be endorsed in many more countries around the world. And we already see the positive examples in countries like Sweden and New Zealand. And I think those should not be overlooked by politicians. They should understand what is really working for consumers and what is really beneficial for public health. There are also countless of testimonials gathered by different organizations. Those are the testimonials of individuals who are talking about their journeys of how they quit smoking and how less harmful nicotine alternatives help them. And I think these stories really matter, and policymakers should start listening to those people. They're real consumers, they have real life stories, and those innovations really help them. So why not listen to them and endorse harm reduction and help public health to improve? So I hope that's going to be what we're going to see next year. There might be more battles to come, but we are ready, I guess.